Okay, so 10 o'clock at night, Sunday night, or was it Saturday night? Not Sunday night, yeah. And I'm just about to crash. Um, I was up pretty early. I was up about 4 o'clock in the morning. That meant I got some sleep. Last night. What did I spend the day doing? I tried to get back to the archiving, but I'm too excited about this money coming in that I get to spend. So, um, I actually spent the day researching a whole bunch of different things. I think I've decided on a cell phone model. Um, it's an Alcatel model. Yeah, Alcatel. It's a French company. I went to a job interview at the Alcatel building in Ottawa a few years ago, and I thought it went well, but or at least I thought I did well, but the hiring manager seemed to be a little bit too business normative. He he didn't like my hair to the point that he was producing wisecracks about it, and that's I think unfortunate. Well, I mean, you're gonna tell a candidate that he otherwise thought was qualified that you're not gonna hire that person because you don't like their haircut. It's kind of childish, don't you think? In fact, it was walking out of that was one of the experiences that just kind of made me like fuck. There was a point where I kind of thought maybe I might, do this whole, corporate thing. Not really because I wanted to, but I mean, like, I can go to work for a few hours a day, a couple of days a week. Don't really want to be there, but I mean, that experience was it just like it made me realize just like this. There's cultures that I can sort of, I can tolerate, the kind of fast food culture. I don't really like it, but I mean the business, like out of all of the different work cultures, the business culture is like the worst. And I mean it's kind of ironic, right? I mean I walk into a restaurant and the people are more mature than the people that work at a tech company, and it's you could say maybe something about people living sheltered lives or something, but it was just like it's well, I mean, look at the president. I mean, like, I'm not even convinced that his intelligence level is low, so much as he has the mentality of a 14-year-old, right? It's a lack of maturity, and there's a difference between maturity and intelligence, right? And then they're dumb enough to, to look at people that are outside of their, kind of uh, arrested development and making normative judgments on their intelligence levels when it's I think should be clear to anybody looking in from the outside that the basic lack of ability is in the culture culture and the ideas that the culture upholds. So I was just kind of like, fuck the business world, right? Fuck you guys. I don't want to be here. You know, I want to go. I want to go back to school, and in fact, I did go back to school. Um, Not long after that. Anyways, it's the phone is cheap, but it's I think the company. I mean, it's I didn't spend a lot of time researching. I mean, it was only a few hours this afternoon, but it just reading kind of reviews and everything. It became. I mean, I guess it's kind of related, right? I mean, I walk into the Alcatel building and I'm struck by how immature the workforce there is, right? And it seems to be that their product is being rejected because it's not designed in a way that appeals to the status or the desires of users for status, which is to say that this particular phone seems to be looked down upon by users as a phone for a younger user base. Um, the reasons being that it's a rugged phone, right? So it's designed for uh, I mean, what was it I was talking about? I was talking, I can't remember now, but I was talking about something else. Bicycles. I was saying that, and I know a lot more about bicycles than I know about cell phones, but I think that I'm seeing kind of the same basic, kind of contradictions, the same lack of logic in the way that they're priced, right? I was saying, I guess yesterday, or yeah, I think it was yesterday, that the sturdier bicycles that will last longer and can be used in more diverse scenarios, those bicycles are cheaper than the really flimsy ones because it's a status thing, right? And I think that that's basically what's coming up with this phone here, is that this phone is designed to last. It's waterproof. It's dust proof. Um, it's they say it's drop proof, which means that you can drop the phone and not have it break. And because it has these protections, it's looked down upon by a more sophisticated audience that doesn't think it has to worry about, dropping its phones, or it isn't concerned about, the idea that maybe their phone might get wet. I guess because they think they can buy new ones. Um, and because, I mean, it creates an aesthetic difference, right? So when you look at a phone that's waterproof, it's going to look a little bit different than one, that's going to go from, from the gala to the briefcase and never, although I don't think that that's really thought through well, because um, business people are going to spend their time, um, or at least in the modern economy, a large amount of the user base for these higher end phones is going to be spending their time on the subway, or in cabs, right? If you live in a city like New York, um, and there is a real concern about your phone getting wet. For me, I live a very active lifestyle. I mean, watch some of the vlogs. Um, when I bought this camera, I made sure that I bought a waterproof camera because I knew. And I'm buying a waterproof phone for more or less the same reason. But it seems to be the aesthetic behind it has got the price very low. I guess they weren't able to sell these devices. The phone is $65. I kid you not, $65. U.S., um, which is about right now about $85 American. Sorry, Canadian, $85 Canadian. So it's less than $100. Now I'm buying it on sale over Amazon. It seems like it's a clearance. It was the same way I bought this. It's a device they can't sell, so they slash the price. But I'm taking advantage of that because if you ask me, if I look at the specs on this device, this phone, um, it looks to me like it should be able to move. It is waterproof. It's IP67. Water and dust proof. Like up to a meter. It's the same specs as the iPhone, as far as waterproof is concerned, right? So it's as waterproof as the newest iPhones, IP67. Um, it's got 16 gigabytes of space on it, which is more than most budget phones, anyways. Two gigabytes of RAM, which I was looking for a 1 gigabyte, right? And it's running an older version of Android, so I won't have to downgrade. Although I'll probably wipe it down anyways. It has a quad-core processor in it. Um, at 1.2, it's maybe a little slower than 1.5, but I doubt that I'll notice it. Saw a couple of reviews, and it seems well, the reviews were for the 1 gigabyte version. I should point that out. But what the reviews suggested was that maybe you can't play games on this phone, but it's perfectly good for I mean, if you want a phone, it's perfectly good for all the things a phone will do, and it's waterproof. And they were reviewing it at a $200 price point, and they were saying it's worth checking out for that reason. But they panned it because they didn't like the way it looked. The reviews saying things like, this looks like a phone for a child. Buy it for your teenager because it doesn't have that sleek, business-friendly look. But like I say, I'd rather take the slightly funky-looking waterproof phone than the more sophisticated-looking phone that costs 3 times as much and you'll have to replace if you drop it. So, um, maybe in a certain sense, I'm treating myself like a teenager. I'm buying myself the phone that you'd buy your kid. Um, well, I mean, it is a starter phone. This is the first smartphone I'm ever gonna have. Um, but as is the case with the camera, it could very well be the last one I ever have as well. Um, it's got it's an HD resolution. It's a 720. Um, I don't I don't see a lot of reason to think that I won't be happy with that, especially considering the price. So, but they won't ship to Canada, so I have to verify that I can send it to the UPS store in Detroit. And if I'm going to do that, I should get a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. So I've been looking through other options like, getting a hard drive, um, I found a seller that's selling shrink wrapped. Like a lot of the reviews are upset because they're selling the product as new and it was manufactured, 15 years ago. Well, it's shrink wrapped. It's a new device. And I think that's the best I can do, right? I could, search around on Kijiji for a used, IDE hard drive. I'm never going to find a new IDE hard drive in any other way except, stuff that was manufactured a long time ago and was never purchased, right? So I'm going to try that. I said that I wanted to get a couple of those old drives. I think one through this way is the way to go, and maybe I'll look around Kijiji and see if I can find a couple of used ones, right? So that's gonna cost me $20 American, but it's shrink wrapped, right? So it's like, and I'll take a look around Kijiji and see if I can find some like old drives for $5 or something. Um, the thing I'm a little apprehensive about though is that I don't know what the maximum. This is an issue that I don't know a lot about. Apparently, there's an LBA limit that says that old BIOSes and old hardware uh, can only take PATA drives up to 120 gigabytes. I don't know if that drive is going to come up to that limit. I think I can probably. I think I have a SATA to IDE connector that I can test with. Um, just to see how well it reads it. And I'm not gonna buy a one. It was a hundred. Sorry, it was a 250 gigabyte drive for $20. Yeah. Um, but I need to be able to. I need to be sure that I can actually read it, right? In fact, I have 250 gigabyte drives. That's what I'll do though. I'll take one of the 250 gigabyte SATA drives that I have in my computer PC. Sorry, in my music PC, and I'll temporarily move it over there just to test it. I'll do that when I wake up, and then I'll see. Okay, can this device read a 250 gigabyte drive, or am I gonna have to work around a smaller limit and try to find a 120 gigabyte drive? Even if that's and that might even cost me more, right? I'll have to see. And that's what stopped me before I went to sleep. So I have to get a big order together, right? So it'll all end up at the UPS building at the same time, hopefully. Um, but I gotta figure out what UPS is gonna like. It said a fee. I don't know what that means. Does that mean like is it a percentage of weight? Is it a percentage of the price? I don't know. Is it a flat fee? Because then after that I'm gonna have to pay customs on the way back, which is just taxes, right? So my $65 phone is gonna be, well, it's first I gotta convert it to US, and then I gotta pay taxes on it. So that's gonna be like $95 Canadian. And then I've got to figure out what the fee is. So I end up paying $120, which is the price of the budget phones at the stores here, minus taxes. Um, but those budget phones at the stores here are like still not anywhere close to it. So I'm still getting a good deal. Um, Even if it's like I said, I wanted to pay $50. I think that if I can keep it under $150 total cost, then I'm making good progress on that. But it's clearly time to get some sleep. Um, that was a day researching that. It's over Amazon. Trying to figure out all these kinds of things. When I wake up, I'll have to figure out about the drive over there. Um, what I can say at least is that it's maxed for the RAM, right? I cannot put any more RAM in that board. So if I get a new hard drive, it could be um, set for a long time. Now, I was getting some performance issues on that machine. Um, it may have been the drive, right? I was blaming a lot of it on Firefox, and I was blaming a lot of it on YouTube. But at the end of the day, it might have just been the drive. We'll have to run through that process again to see when it comes up. Other thing is, I was talking yesterday. Ugh. I didn't get to any archiving today because, like I said, I was just distracted. But yesterday I was talking about my mouse freezing and wondering, okay, is it the soft? No, it's. I was able to rule out the Windows licensing as a problem, as a cause. So it's not that because I did the testing. As far as I can tell, it's a driver issue. And like I say, it's got to be Stuxnet, right? Um, and I'm hoping that when I do reinstall that machine, I mean, it's got to be because I mean it comes back, right? It has to be an issue in the software drivers, and I don't even know how that happens any other way. Like, how do your mouse drivers accidentally get corrupted? That has to be malicious. There's no other way around it. But that's that. Back at that tomorrow. And right now, obviously, I need some sleep.